Okay, welcome to this session now, where we would like to focus on ScanPlant solutions within the meat industry. In this part, we would like to share particular knowledge from the red meat industry. Many we talk to in our business actually say that it's extremely difficult to actually put numbers on how much it has helped them saved by implementing automation with advanced software and controls, as it can be quite complex. Although correct on some aspects, we do not entirely agree. And in this session, we will share some knowledge on how we implemented our ScanPlant manufacturing execution system in order to help a specific customer with a project and actually get some figures at the end of the day to see how much it actually saved. So if you're interested to see these numbers, stay tuned and let's put some meat on the bones. So to start with, let's talk about the challenges within the meat industry. There is many challenges that meat producers must be aware of today. And I think it's important to understand this before we talk about the solution and these savings. The meat industry today is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, deforestation, and water pollution. Reducing its environmental impact reduces in terms of carbon emissions and resource use. This is a significant challenge that meat producers must be aware of. There is also ethical concerns in the world today regarding the treatment of animals and how they are used in industrial meat production. This has gained widespread attention on a global basis. There is many consumers and advocacy groups who are pushing for improved animal welfare standards and more humane practices. This is very understandable and most have respect for it today, but it really impacts the process immensely for meat producers. Health conscious consumers, as we should all be today, are increasingly seeking alternatives to conventional meat due to concerns about health risks associated with high consumption of red meat processing. This has led to growing demand for plant-based alternative protein solutions or sources. Ensuring the safety of meat products is critical. Outbreaks of foodborne illnesses such as E. coli or Salmonella have given severe consequences for public health and the reputation within the whole of the meat industry. So strict food regulation, food safety and quality control measures are not to be messed with. They are an absolute necessity. If we think back to the COVID-19 pandemic, exposed vulnerabilities in the meat supply chains, this was crucial. Distributions in the processing facilities due to labour shortages, transportation issues, disrupted flow of the whole supply chain. So it's therefore critical for processors to be a part of this resilient supply chain. All of these things are really concerning for meat processors. And with this particular project we would like to discuss, it was all about future-proofing the business for indeed the next 20 or 30 years. So to put an initial number on this, we have been working with the customer and we have just improved their earnings by this amount per year. Yeah, it almost seems it could be unbelievable, but it's actually true. And if you want to stick around and find out how we actually did this, we really believe it's possible to do for many others because we believe that we have the knowledge and we have the solutions and we believe we can do this. When we first started working with this customer, we quickly realized that they came to us because they were unsure of their overall yield performance. They were very suspicious that their overall packing of shipments wasn't quite in control, and they were giving a lot of extra product away when they were shipping out finished pallets. They actually had growing concerns as customer returns and complaints were on the rise. And they had very limited control of their finished goods on their stock, and thereby they were unsure of the shelf life, how long it had been there, and many of these were premium products that they should have been selling actually for a higher cost. So the overall goal was to secure their business by providing new processes with our ScanPlant software as a platform to cover all these points and secure the business for the future. That was basically what it was about. In the goods reception area, there is already vast amounts of data that we could start to collect. This may be a mixture of data that is provided through fixed machines, devices, scales, whatever. However, it was quickly realized by us that this customer that there was much data that we could capture ourselves. For example, delayed delivery times on trucks that should come, other delays or stock reasons, or of course, and in particular, quality control checks or deviations. The data may even have come from other software platforms, such as ERP solutions or a SCADA system that was in place. At the same time, by connecting these processes through data, we could also report very specifically on the traceability to support recall needs or quality auditing documentation. When we started this work with the producer, we started with joint workshops to determine the scope, the processes, of course, success criteria for each area. We create flow diagrams and work forward with these as a project roadmap. So here is a typical example of a specific process flow at goods reception, where we started by analyzing the current process. By the end, when we had digitized the entire area by implementing our ScanPlant solution throughout, not only did it significantly reduce the working hours in the area, but it completely optimized their raw material put away and thereby assisted their stock control optimization also. We will cover stock controlling in another session. ScanPlant solution at the receiving area allowed for thorough quality control inspections. The operators at each stage were presented by specific quality control checks on a screen. There was a list there of which they must comply with, they must complete before they can move on to the next process. And all of this incorporated into their quality control processes. Using our ScanPlant solution with barcode scanning, we assisted them to track and verify the source, the origin, and the quality of the incoming raw material. This ensured that not only high quality meat was accepted into production, which reduced the risk of contamination or below par products. Accurate tracking and recording of the incoming meat into the inventory totally streamlined the process of what we put on stock. With ScanPlant, we were able to monitor the stock levels in real time, reducing the risk of having too much on stock or indeed too little. This also gave immediate results by improving resource allocation for cost savings. In other words, when we analysed the process, we could see some resources that were in place, we could move to other areas in the factory. Regarding the traceability and the compliance part, well, the ability to trace the source of the incoming meat is crucial for compliance with the food safety regulations and industry standards today. Utilising ScanPlant for traceability ensured this customer could quickly identify and address any issues or recalls if necessary. And it was also enhanced the time it used for traceability tests during the quality audits. This helped them maintain, of course, their consumer trust, and it helped them comply with the regulations. Full track and trace detailed reports for this customer during their audits are produced in record time. By following the ScanPlant receiving process, this helped this customer also with more effective production planning. The ScanPlant software system provided insights into demand forecasting. This allowed them to optimize production schedules, reduce waste, and overall increase their productivity. One major point to note is through training and education of the operators and good disciplinary use of the ScanPlant system, this did lead to them saving costs overall. For example, by automating data collection and analysis through ScanPlant, the operators in the area on each screen were only presented with the data that they needed to act upon. This, in turn, actually helped them reduce manual errors, and it minimized product loss and optimized resource allocation. Ultimately, all of this improved the bottom line. In the area as a whole, we started with 6 operators, and by the end of the process where we had digitized the whole area, there is now only 2 operators in the area at busy periods for receiving goods. So all in all, in the receiving area, the ScanPlant solution could significantly help them save on many aspects. It just meant that it was more efficient, it was more accurate, and gave them more responsive in changing to the demanding markets, and of course living up to food safety regulations. So what were the typical gains? Well, the typical gains here, you may say, are almost too good to be true, but they significantly reduced the amount of working orders in the area, and they totally created a paperless environment where everything is now registered online. The amount of work hours that was reduced by 375 per year. This involved them being able to put more people into other areas of the factory. So it was significant savings just in this receiving area. If we move on to the cutting and deboning area, well, here there is all significant savings to be made also. Here we will talk about a specific example where we helped a customer achieve in secondary processing. Effectiveness in this area is decisive for profit and loss on the production floor. With ScanPlant, we provided planning tools to help them manage their orders to ensure that the right products were taken out of the coolers, designated after priority across cutting and deboning lines in order to ensure maximum effectiveness from the raw material. It's really crucial to reduce giveaway in this area. And here it's all about controlling the yield per operator. We had scales by the product coming out of the coolers. It's weighed, it's cut down. Primal products may be weighed again, and then after they are cut in specific trays, perhaps with RFID in them, then they are designated to specific third processes after the actual cutting and deboning. But it's all about using the software to have this constant real-time view of where we are regarding the yield. There is also another significant area here regarding the savings, and this is measuring the meat content versus the fat amount. So it's crucial to measure what is the difference between the actual meat percent regarding the fat percent. This can be used as a negotiation tool for processors if they go back to their suppliers to show documentation of the product quality they purchased versus what they actually got. So there's huge amounts to be saved here. The next probable area for this customer to move will be to measure each operator on the line on their actual performance. This will take more project implementation and scoping from our side, but for now, there is significant savings. Here, you see an overall of how we actually achieved this. When we started, they were missing this overall yield on the different yield products. So we put this on screens for them where they have an overview of the expected yield versus exactly what they got. They were started being very unclear about which parts, which raw material they should take out of the chiller to put across the line in accordance with their production planning. Our order handling system helped them prioritize this. And of course, if they produced too much that they couldn't ship out on the same day, then they had to put it back to a freezer, and this resulted in it being lowered in quality or indeed being destroyed. However, there was a very significant improvement in the challenges here. Here you see an example of the customer's flow as we described with them and how we could implement ScanPlant across the area. And it brought about various benefits that contributed to improving the overall profitability. Firstly, it helped with yield optimization. ScanPlant provided a real-time data to optimize cutting and deboning processes. This led to increased precision in the portioning and reduced the meat waste, simply by ensuring that less meat fell on the floor and by minimizing the trim and maximizing usable portions. This provided overall yield improvements and profitability. Again, ScanPlant was able to give the customer a real-time, effective monitor of tracking and controlling of the inventory levels, including prime cuts, boned meat, and of course byproducts. This real-time inventory visibility assisted us in preventing overstocking or understocking, reducing storage costs, and ensuring that they have the right products available to meet their demands. Quality control aspects here are also huge, and implementing ScanPlant quality process system allowed for consistent monitoring of product quality through the cutting and deboning area. It assisted by identifying and addressing issues on non-compliance without delay. This helped us reduce the likelihood of producing below par products that could lead to financial losses. Tracking and tracing again was also crucial. The ScanPlant process allowed us to facilitate the recording of tracking and product data from the coolers to the area and beyond, which made it easier to meet all of the regulatory requirements, and of course respond to product recalls if that would be necessary. Resource optimization is crucial in this area. It's typical. We often see very many people in the cutting and deboning area. ScanPlant could help here optimize allocation of labor, machinery, or conveyor lines and resources across the area. By analyzing the production data and the trends, we could make quite clever, informed decisions about staffing levels that were necessary, machinery utilization, and production scheduling, which also reduced labor and the operational costs. Additionally, integrating our ScanPlant solution in the cutting and debone area could enable better communication and data sharing with other departments within the factory, enhancing the overall operational efficiency and collaboration. In other words, it's nice for the owners of the business that they can see exactly what is going on right now on the factory. Are we meeting our yield numbers or not? So by leveraging software tools and analytics in the meat processing factory, it's very clear this customer was now improving product quality, reducing waste, streamlining operations, and ensuring all of their compliance, which can contribute to the whole business. This was crucial. So here is a typical example of how we optimize the yields. There was a number of ways of doing this, of making the calculations from one scale at one part of the process to another and having the simple calculation. But the real key to it all was about having some dashboarding and some reporting that could show actual yield numbers against what they expected. So here is an example of one of the yield reports. Here you can see the actual kilograms of the different parts of the actual the primal cuts, you could say, against what was expected. So even when there's very small deviations, the actual losses can be absolutely huge. So having an overview about this, having a tool where you can make the decisions in real time and not wait until the next day, then it gives you a tool where you can make a stop, change things around, move people around, but ensure that you're not going to lose on your yield numbers. Waiting till tomorrow is way too late. So here is an overview of the gains in the cutting and debonding. Here we call the secondary processing. It was based on pork. It was based on over 800 pigs per hour over a normal working day. And just imagine if you could do this on every single part of the actual animal, it would give a huge amount of increase. So this is how we do it. This is the way we work with our customers to help them save. Again, typical improvements here. It's about having real-time focus on the yields. It's about us digitization on as much of the process as possible. It's about us having not too many people on the line. It's about us measuring the quality of the meat, of the actual meat versus fat. And it's about having us this real-time overview of production in order to give us an overview about the products we have. Will they meet the demand we're sending out at the end of the day? This completes this session for now. Join us for the next session. Thank you.